Have you ever wondered if the concept of narcissism, so prevalent in today's society, can be traced back to the stories and characters of the Bible? Narcissism, as we understand it today, is characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. But did the ancient scribes of the Bible unknowingly pen down characters who embodied these traits? As we sift through the age-old pages of the Bible, we begin to see hints of these characteristics in certain figures. While the term narcissism did not exist in biblical times, the behaviors associated with it are timeless. This opens up an intriguing possibility. Could figures like Satan, often seen as the embodiment of evil, or Jezebel, a queen infamous for her manipulative ways, actually be ancient representations of what we now call narcissism? Let's dive into the ancient pages of the Bible to uncover potential examples of narcissism. Consider Satan, the fallen angel. Could he be the Bible's first narcissist? Let's delve into the story of Satan's fall from heaven, as told in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. In the beginning, Satan, then known as Lucifer, was an angel of light, a cherub who stood in the very presence of God. However, he was not content with his position. He yearned to ascend above the clouds, to exalt his throne above the stars of God, to sit also upon the mount of the congregation, in the sides of the north. In essence, Lucifer desired to be like the Most High. This desire to elevate oneself, to seek praise and adulation, is a hallmark of narcissism. It's a trait characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, and a lack of empathy for others. Lucifer's aspirations, his coveting of God's position, showcase these characteristics. But Lucifer's narcissistic tendencies didn't stop there. He refused to serve, another indicator of narcissism. Narcissists often view themselves as superior and therefore feel that they shouldn't have to stoop to perform tasks that they consider beneath them. Lucifer, desiring to be worshipped rather than to worship, fits this description. However, these traits led to Lucifer's downfall. His pride, his refusal to serve, his desire for worship, they all contributed to his expulsion from heaven. Cast down to earth, he became Satan, the adversary, the deceiver, the father of lies. His narcissism led to his transformation from an angel of light to the prince of darkness. Satan's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of narcissistic behavior. It warns us of the potential consequences of self-centeredness, of craving admiration, of refusing to serve. It's a stark reminder that narcissism, left unchecked, can lead to isolation, to enmity, to downfall. And it raises the question, could Satan indeed be the Bible's first narcissist? Let's turn our attention to Jezebel, a queen notorious for her manipulative and self-serving actions. In the biblical book of 1 Kings, Jezebel emerges as a character defined by her relentless pursuit of power and her complete disregard for the feelings and rights of others. Jezebel was the wife of King Ahab, the ruler of Israel. She was notorious for manipulating her husband to achieve her own ends. One of the most infamous examples of this was when she orchestrated the murder of a man named Naboth to acquire his vineyard, which Ahab coveted. When Ahab was upset because Naboth refused to sell his vineyard, Jezebel devised a plot, falsely accusing Naboth of blasphemy and ensuring his execution. She then presented the vineyard to Ahab as a gift. This blatant manipulation of power for personal gain is a classic trait of narcissism. But it was not only her husband that Jezebel manipulated. She also used her position to promote the worship of the Canaanite deity Baal, disregarding the cultural and religious norms of the Israelites. She ordered the execution of God's prophets and replaced them with prophets of Baal. This ruthlessness and lack of empathy for others, again, are hallmarks of narcissistic behavior. Jezebel's story is not one of redemption. She met a gruesome end, thrown from a window by her own servants at the command of Jehu, a man anointed by God to end the reign of Ahab's family. Even in her final moments, she sought to control the narrative, applying makeup and fixing her hair before her demise, a final act of vanity. What can we glean from Jezebel's story? It serves as a stark reminder that those who seek power at the expense of others, who manipulate and control without empathy, ultimately face destruction. Jezebel's story is another stark example of the destructive consequences of narcissistic behavior. Having explored the stories of Satan and Jezebel, let's delve deeper into the theme of narcissism in the Bible. While the term itself might not appear in the ancient text, the concept certainly does. Narcissism, as we understand it today, is a pattern of self-centeredness, a lack of empathy for others, and a craving for admiration. And yes, the Bible has plenty to say about this. The Bible consistently warns against pride and self-centeredness, two behaviors deeply associated with narcissism. For instance, in the book of Proverbs it says, "Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall." This verse implies the dangers of a self-absorbed lifestyle, warning that it often leads to downfall. But the Bible doesn't just stop at warning against narcissism, it also provides a counterpoint to it. We're encouraged to be humble, to think of others before ourselves, to serve rather than be served. In the book of Philippians we find this advice: "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves." This is the antithesis of narcissism, a call to put others before ourselves, to show empathy and compassion. The Bible also offers examples of characters who, despite their power and status, remained humble and selfless. King David, for instance, despite being a king, often referred to himself as a servant of God. His humility was a stark contrast to the arrogance displayed by Satan and Jezebel. In the New Testament, Jesus Christ himself is portrayed as the ultimate example of humility and selflessness. Despite being the Son of God, he washed the feet of his disciples, a task usually performed by servants. His life and teachings consistently emphasize the importance of humility, empathy, and selfless love. It's clear that the Bible, while not using the term narcissism, certainly addresses the behaviors and attitudes associated with it. It warns us of the dangers of self-centeredness and pride, and encourages us to live a life of humility and service to others. So, what can we take away from our exploration of narcissism in the Bible? In our journey through the ancient text, we've dissected the characters of Satan and Jezebel, examining their potential narcissistic traits. These characters, while vastly different, share a common thread: an inflated sense of self-importance and an insatiable hunger for power and admiration. Satan, once an angel of light, allowed his beauty and status to inflate his ego to the point of rebellion against the Most High. His desire to ascend above his Creator was his downfall, marking him as a cautionary tale of the destructive potential of narcissism. Next, we explored the story of Jezebel, a queen who wielded her power with deceit and manipulation. She was known for her ruthless pursuit of control, often at the expense of others. Her narcissistic tendencies were her ultimate undoing, leading to her tragic end. These tales serve as stark reminders of the dangers of self-centeredness and pride, but they also illuminate the virtues of humility and service. In contrast to Satan and Jezebel, figures like Moses and Jesus exemplify these qualities. Moses, despite his status, remained humble, choosing to serve rather than rule. Jesus, the Son of God, washed the feet of his disciples, demonstrating that true greatness lies in service. The Bible, while it may not use the term narcissism, certainly warns against its trappings. It teaches us that those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. It reminds us to consider others above ourselves, to live in harmony, and to bear each other's burdens. These lessons are timeless, transcending centuries to offer us wisdom for today's world. We're reminded that while narcissism may offer temporary satisfaction, it's ultimately self-destructive. Humility and service, on the other hand, foster community, growth, and lasting fulfillment. While the term narcissism may not appear in the Bible, the lessons it teaches about self-centeredness and pride are timeless and relevant, offering us wisdom for today's world.